So we are continuing the discussion of Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 text 12. So if you, in case you have not gone through the first part, I would request you to go through the first part first, then you come to this second part. This is the second part of the chapter 2 12th verse. So where we discussed about how Mayavad is propounded in a wrong way, or Mayavad philosophy itself has got a wrong connotation, has a wrong understanding. So Mayavad basically means that everything is one, and there is no differentiality, there is no individuality, and the soul merges into Brahman, and the soul merges into God, and loses one's existence. So all those things that we discussed in the past. Now, in this particular video, so Krishna is going to mention what are the reasons and how it is how the Mayavad is not proper. The merging of the soul to Brahman is not proper, and it is not correct, and it never happens basically. So it's a wrong understanding, and it never happens. So the principle here understood here is that the theory that the individuality of the conditioned state is supported. That means conditioned state is referring to a person when one comes to this state of being as we are in, and this particular place is called material world. So anybody who is in this material world is called a conditioned soul, and then conditioned by the conditionings of the material world, and that's why it is called a conditioned state. So we are all remaining in a conditioned state. That's why we are called conditioned souls. So Krishna is mentioning about the past they were individuals. In the present we are all individuals. In the future we will continue to remain as individuals. So which basically takes out the entire option or entire possibility of having anything to do with merging, right? So the entire thing is gone, that there is no possibility of merging anywhere. So the Lord and the others, it is also confirmed in the Upanishads that the eternality of the soul will continue. So the statement here made by Krishna is authoritative because Krishna cannot be subjected to illusion. If Krishna can be subjected to illusion, Bhagavad Gita loses all its importance. We need not study Bhagavad Gita. If Bhagavad Gita is spoken by God, is spoken by a superior person, then only it makes sense. If it is spoken by any ordinary people or anybody, just like that, then Bhagavad Gita loses all its importance. So we need not go through Bhagavad Gita if we think that Bhagavad Gita is just an ordinary book. So Bhagavad Gita is not an ordinary book. Bhagavad Gita is a highly spiritually evolved book, and the contents of this Bhagavad Gita can actually elevate each and every one of us to the highest form of spiritual realization. That's the subject matter of this book. So if the Mayavadis refer that, okay, Krishna was mentioning about the individuality of the body, then that also is defied, because just before this verse, Krishna condemned the bodily existence. So after telling that the body is not very important, the soul is important, why would Krishna again refer to the body the individualistic way? So if somebody is saying that all people have body, and then the same soul is there within each body, and whenever the body dies, all the souls get merged into one. That's not practical. That's not possible. You and me are two different individuals. You have certain choices. You have certain tastes. You have certain opinions. I have something totally different. No two people on the earth look alike. Even the twins look different. Something is different in between them. So how can it be said that all the souls in all the people are the same? They are similar. They are not same. They are all individual. They are all different. That's what is another point that is mentioned. So the consciousness that is referring to here as individual consciousness. So each soul, each individual living entity, you and me and all of us, are having individual consciousness, are having individual opinions, tastes, choices, and things like that. So that actually comes from the soul. That actually is the part of the soul, that inclination, that everything that we have. So it's different, it's individual, it's not same, it cannot be all the souls cannot come together. Now if Bhagavad Gita is not considered as an authoritative scripture, then Bhagavad Gita will lose its importance. Okay. And if a common man like you and me, with all the defects that we have, as they say, to err is human, that means everything that we do has got some kind of error in that, has got some kind of mistakes in that. And all of us have these four defects. So what are the four defects? That we'll know in due course of time. So human beings have these four defects with all the human frailties. If we are thinking that I will write a book of the caliber of Bhagavad Gita, that's not possible. So basically it means that Bhagavad Gita is not a book written by a person who is conditioned by the four defects and the human frailties. It is not a book written by a normal human being. It is a spoken knowledge by Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if one accepts Krishna as an ordinary person, Bhagavad Gita is losing all its importance. We need not study Bhagavad Gita at all if we consider Krishna to be a normal person like you and me, or a normal historical person who became a supernatural person. No, he did not become a supernatural person. He did not become something. He was what he was in the day one, and he was what he was at his completion of his life. So he was all through the same. He was not a different person at all. So therefore the individuality is maintained on spiritual grounds, not on the bodily grounds. So the individuality is maintained, that means all individual living beings have their own individual soul, and they are all different. They can never merge with one another. They will never merge with one another. Now, it will not make sense if a person has a lot of envy, a lot of grudges, a lot of anger towards Krishna. If somebody is not able to accept Krishna as a supreme authority, one need not go through Bhagavad Gita, because it will not penetrate it. You cannot understand. Nobody can understand. So the first level of encoding, as I usually say, opens. So Bhagavad Gita has got multi-level encoding. So the first level encoding opens up at the 2.7 what we spoke, when Arjuna decides to become the disciple of Krishna. When we decide to accept a mentor, the first level encoding of Bhagavad Gita opens, and Bhagavad Gita allows access for us to understand. That is the first level of encoding. And anyone who has got high amount of envy, that is a different level of encoding. If someone has envy towards Krishna, sealed, Bhagavad Gita cannot be understood. So that's why it is said that, it's like if there is a bottle of honey and a honeybee, or anybody for that matter, tries to, taste the honey from the outside of the bottle, or licking the bottle from outside, you can't taste honey. You have to open the bottle, take the effort to take out the honey, and then take it. So an envious person trying to understand Bhagavad Gita is like licking the bottle of honey from outside. When you lick the bottle from outside, you don't get the taste of honey. Bhagavad Gita is sweet. Bhagavad Gita is very, very great. It's a good amount of knowledge. It's something like can be a life-saving drug, and if it is applied in the right perspective. So if we want to approach Bhagavad Gita, then we need the attitude of humble submission like Arjuna, and a non-envious disposition like Arjuna. Then Bhagavad Gita opens up very, very clearly, and we can understand a lot of things that is mentioned in the Gita. So that is how the scriptures are protected. Scriptures are protected. That means a person who does not have the right kind of attitude cannot penetrate into the understanding of the scriptures. So you can understand the level of encoding that is there. A person with a very good character can very easily understand the scriptures. A person with not adequate character can never understand, can never penetrate, can never get into the realm of the understanding of Bhagavad Gita. So that's how the scriptures are protected from the people, those who are envious. Yet we see there are so many people who write multifarious commentaries against Krishna, taking the words of Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita. They have no access to the understanding of Bhagavad Gita, and their books will only propel or only enhance the person who is already envious towards Krishna. He will become more envious, because the person who is writing the book with the envy towards Krishna, he is only propagating his envy towards others. And anybody has got small amount of envy for Krishna, it will only become more. So it is highly recommended that we should not get into the commentaries that is written by non-devotees, or that is not written by devotees. If anything that is written that is telling negative about Krishna, we should never get into those kind of commentaries, because they are not only detrimental for the person who has written, it is also detrimental to the person who is reading and trying to understand. It's not going to make sense. So the multi-level encoding of Bhagavad Gita is further going to get closed. The access will not be allowed to penetrate into the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and to understand Bhagavad Gita from the right perspective. You will get all kinds of wrong perspective if you read such commentaries, if you read such explanations who are envious in nature. Those who are, they just want to take the words of Krishna and become popular just by writing anything. So they may become popular by writing anything for a while, but that fame will also vanish in due course of time. So this is not going to be a lasting long thing. You cannot expect good by doing bad, right? So that's the multivarious understanding that is given here. So the basic understanding should be, we should never discuss these things with Mayavad philosophies, with Mayavadis, those who have understanding that everything will merge. You are God, I am God, and everybody is God, and then we are all going to get merged into God, and we will lose our existence and all those things. We should never hear them, and we should accept the authority of Krishna, and we should understand that we are in a conditioned state, and then once we accept a mentor and become non-envious towards Krishna, then our understanding will be opened to Krishna's understanding. So let us see to the next one.